Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2025 Chess World Cup. In this video, I'm going to give you a recap of what happened in the semifinal round. This tournament has provided crazy days of chess, it's provided crazy games of chess, and it has provided crazy moments and specific moves. And in particular, the last game of this video is just devastating on so many levels. Here are your semifinalists. You have Nodirbek Yakuboyev from Uzbekistan versus Javahir Sindarov from Uzbekistan. That's just how it worked out. So there will be an Uzbek in the candidates. And then you have Wei Yi from China and Andrei Esipenko from Russia. What will happen is the winners of the semis go to the finals, and they're already guaranteed a candidate spot. Then the game for third place, the match for third place, will determine the last person. And that's absolutely brutal. Before I get into the games today, by the way, this is the first ever Chess for Babies. It's I have it here in my hands. This is super exciting. Very, very cute book. Maybe some of you can learn from it as well. Maybe this book is perfect for your level. But no, joking aside, there is a link in the description to it. To pre-order it. It's a very exciting time because over the next couple of weeks, there will be some other cool stuff, like we will have a massive holiday challenge on Chessly and so on. So just stay tuned. It's going to be an exciting 4 weeks to end the year. It's also going to be an exciting time for some of these chess players because some of them are going to the candidates. Well, really 3 are going to the candidates. One of the semifinalists is going to just have the absolute worst time. So we're going to begin with the classical games. Friendly reminder, in the World Cup, they play 2 games of classical chess, and then if it's 1-1, they have a day when they play tie breaks. So the very first game between the Uzbek players, Nodirbek and Javahir, side note, doesn't help that they're friends. Like, playing your friend is absolutely brutal. We have a Queen's Gambit in the first game. We have C6 from Sindarov. This is a semi-Slav defense. Very good opening. White has many options now. E3 is the Miran, I think. Bishop G5 is the traditional main line. Yakuboyev plays a sideline. He plays Queen D3. This is just, it's not popular, but it's a tricky way to play. Black takes on C4. White voluntarily recaptures and even voluntarily backs up with the queen. I've actually played this myself with the black pieces. I've even played this with white, but I've played it more with black. Bishop B7. And the point is that white is going to take the full center. This is sort of what white is banking on. Like, I'm going to take the big center. The problem is that black's position is extremely resilient, and these 2 pawns will go forward, dislodging the knight and striking the center and adding another attacker. So actually, everything in the black position works out very nicely. Sindarov does, in fact, play the move B4. You go knight a4. It looks like you're doing something, but after queen a5, there's threats on the king, there's threats on the knight. Still, it looks like you are doing very well here, but Sindarov just quickly plays this move c5, clearly in his preparation. He has 3 minutes more than he started with. And here, Yakuboyev just couldn't remember the preparation. The 2 moves here that put pressure on the position for black are knight to e5, followed by this check, or e5 immediately dislodging the knight, and only later playing queen b5. He couldn't remember that. He couldn't remember if he's supposed to go e5, then queen b5, knight e5, and then queen b5, and he ultimately opts for queen b5 straight away, but this is wrong. This is wrong because after takes, you immediately offer the trade of bishops. That's actually why the best move for white is to first play knight e5, because you prevent the bishop from coming to c6. The position's still equal, but that is what you should do. He goes here, and yeah, Sindarov just plays bishop c6, and black just gets a totally equal position. Rook c1, rook d5. Yeah, you are absolutely never, ever, ever doing anything here. Sindarov's just going to trade the bishops. Then he's going to, bring his king. He's going to play h6. In many ways, it's actually black who is playing for something here, because black has a very good pawn structure and white has doubled e-pawns, but the position's still equal. Like, you can never take this pawn because you would lose your rook. You can't move your rook because you're going to lose your knight. You can't move your king because you're going to lose your knight. What ultimately happens is, Yakuboyev makes a couple of moves. We have a trade, and rook g7 is played, and the game is just drawn on the spot. Now, hot take, I think if Sindarov was playing me, or Wei Yi, or Esipenko, I really don't think Sindarov would have offered a draw after rook g7. Just like, rook g7 is one of these moves, like, I know the position's equal. Actually, what's crazy is white is now slightly better. This whole plan by Yakoboyev to, like, isolate this pawn and put pressure on it, you know, like, he actually got somewhere, and the draw was offered, but if, you know, you take and go g4, like, I mean, there's still stuff to play for here, you know? It's the freaking World Cup. But they agreed to a draw, and I think Sindarov was playing on the fact that, you know, Yakoboyev only has a minute, and it's the 30th move, so he has to make 10 more moves to get to the bonus time. And I think Yakoboyev was like, I don't want to risk it. It's probably equal. He's my friend. But there is, yeah, again, it's weird to play your friends. You know, it really is. And I think they kind of were like, let's not risk it in this sort of position. But, I mean, if there were other opponents involved, I think the game would have gone on a little bit. So now we have the second classical game, right? They come back on the next day. Now Sindarov has white. He's a favorite here. And he goes for the 4 knights. Now, the 4 knights opening, it looks just like a draw. I mean, generally what people are doing is they're playing the Italian or the Spanish. And at this level, a distant third is the Scotch, because there are some ideas in the Scotch. Scotch opening is great, by the way. If you want a really nice opening for beginner and intermediate, like, and even advanced, I mean, the Scotch is fantastic. But they like to play this now. And then here they either play a 4-knight Scotch or they play bishop b5. This is the new modern cutting-edge type of approach. Black jumps the knight into the middle on d4. We trade it, and white plays e5. Now, here you are just relying on the fact that your opponent doesn't know what he's doing. So takes, both guys trade. We have another trade. We have bishop c5 castle, and c6 from Yakoboyev, which he thought for 9 minutes... And it's not the best move. The best move for black was to castle. I think he probably knew that, but maybe he was trying to kind of throw off Javahir, and it actually worked. I mean, Javahir in this position, he thought for a long time. What's funny is the best move here is to give a check on e2 and then put the queen on h5. So you play queen to e2, you make the queen move back, and then you go queen to h5, which doesn't look like it makes any sense, because if you did that, the bishop wouldn't even be hanging, and yours would. It makes much more sense to go queen h5, but that's actually wrong for some reason. And this is what opening preparation has done in the modern era. Like, I can't explain to you why after c6... I mean, of course I can figure it out. You know, probably the queen is poorly positioned and away from the king, and maybe susceptible to some rook and some bishop attacks and so on, but like... Yeah, he plays queen h5, and apparently that's just immediately the wrong move. Yakoboyev plays d6, h6, g6, just creates a very solid situation here. We trade, king f8, the king is going to walk to safety, and this is our position after 17 moves. 2 rooks, completely identical pawn structure, and absolutely nothing is going to happen here. If you thought anything was going to happen in the previous endgame, it wasn't. If you think anything is going to happen in this endgame, which is unironically completely equal, yeah, nothing's going to happen, and... yeah, on the 30th move, they make a draw again. So it's move 31. Here, obviously, nobody can break through. So this match will be settled in the tie breaks. This one was much more like Sindarov went for a little something. Yakoboyev had this one moment here, like he played c6 instead of castling. White maybe could have done a little bit of something, but once black set up these pawns and put the king safely on g7, there was nothing here. The thing is, white played an opening in a way where so many pieces are simplified and the pawn structure is clarified so early, there's no imbalance. And at the 1500 level, yes, you might still blunder something, but not at this level. So we go to tie breaks. Yakoboyev with white, Sindarov with the black pieces. We have d4, d5. Now they are playing 15-minute chess. Okay, c4, e6, queen's gambit declined. Sindarov's like, hey, last time you went queen d3 and you got absolutely nothing. So this time, all right, he goes bishop g5, right? Bishop g5 is the main line. Now black has 2 choices. You can play knight d7, bishop e7, or you can take on c4, the Botvinnik system, and then you try to play b5. dc4 is a roller coaster which goes upside down 100 times, which has loops, which has a massive drop, which reaches peak speed. Like, this is really not for the faint of heart, and knight d7 is much more solid. We trade on d5, we keep the stable center, h6, and now this move to kind of be like, well, you're leaving the bishop around, so I'm going to go take it, and this is very different from their classical game. Very different. Black has the bishop pair, white has a, slightly more robust center, white has some attacking ideas, totally imbalanced structure, bishop e2, bishop b4, castle queen e7, very good, like everything is normal, queen d4, so we are targeting potentially the bishop, and obviously we have ideas of the rook over here, knight g7, nice idea, bringing the knight back. I like Sindarov's position a lot. Yeah, and there's a reason Yakoboyev is down nearly 3 minutes. It's because the position is not pleasant to play with white. It really isn't. Like, when you lose the bishop pair and you don't have any obvious targets, it becomes a little bit of a struggle, like, which pawns do I push? How do I move my pieces around? The position's equal, but it's not super pleasant. Now we have knight a4, so now he's at least guaranteed to get the bishop, right? Bishop goes back to b6, he can take it immediately, which he does. And now he plays queen d4, which is a fork. Like, it really is. Black has to give this up, but this position's better for black. Why is it better for black? It's very rare you can say, better is a stretch, but like, it's more optically pleasing for black. It's rare you can just say that like a bishop is worse than a knight. But in this case, it kind of is. Like, the white bishop is not going to do anything without a4 or e4 pawn breaks. And generally, you need to keep an eye on the pawn breaks in a position. Which is in my second book. Which is not, it's not Chess for Babies. That's not, How to Win at Chess Next Level is coming out later next year. And yeah, there's a chapter on pawns. You have to keep an eye on the pawn breaks in the position. Black doesn't have that many pawn breaks, just f6. But black does have an opportunity to outplay a knight for a bishop here. Because, the pawns are all blocking this bishop since it's on a light square. Yeah, and Sindarov is going to start to do that. He puts the knight back into the game. He plays queen c5, and he just goes for a position of knight versus bishop, and white's bishop just isn't good. It just isn't good. And so black is going to slowly try to improve the position or offer up the knight completely to infiltrate with the rook. Knight goes back to b6. Now it's dancing on the opposite color complex. It's hitting 5 dark spots, which obviously this bishop cannot even fight against. We have rook d1, king g7. He's going to make a pawn break at some point. There it is. You got to understand the pawn breaks of the position. And at this point, Yakoboyev's like, okay, I have to trade. Now we have this kind of snake-like structure. Sindarov is going to continue to try to put pressure. Now Sindarov activates the freaking pawn diamond. I mean, if your opponent can get a freaking pawn diamond, like, it's over, dude. Like, I mean, it's everything is guarding everything else, and this is guarded. Good luck. Right? And Yakoboyev is down on time. Again, Yakoboyev clearly not an experienced rapid player. 25-50 FIDE, and also he hasn't had a rapid tiebreak in like 2 weeks at the World Cup. He's always beating people in classical chess. Rook c3, king f6. Sindarov is extremely experienced in rapid. He beat Hikaru. He's beaten Magnus, I'm pretty sure, this year in rapid, although it was in freestyle. And ultimately what happens is Yakoboyev plays a4, and this move allows this. Suddenly, this is unprotected, and when you take, the rook gets in, and this is over. That little maneuver, rook a8, rook here, and the pawn diamond is down to just a little cluster, but they're both past pawns, and it's going to take some 40, 50 moves, but the pawn makes it down. You cannot stop rook b1. This was a masterpiece from Sindarov. This was, a Queen's Gambit declined, which he immediately, sought out imbalance for the knight versus the bishop. Later, he, got the type of structure and minor piece imbalance that he wanted. And despite this being his friend, he played this game like a 2800. This was masterfully done. The imbalance into a dominant rook endgame, into punishing the one severe error that his opponent made. And he just won this game like he's like he was like there was wind in the sails. Wind in the... like on the sailboat, like he was gliding, just an expertly played game showing why there are levels even in rapid, you know what I'm saying? And Yakoboyev has an opportunity now to strike back in the second game, and to do that, he's going to have to take massive risk, so he plays a Sicilian defense. He goes for a Najdorf. We have h3, this is the Adams attack, g4 is the idea, and he plays it. And now you have, white can play like bishop g2 and castle, or he can just play like super aggro and be like, I'm playing white. I mean, you have to take the risk with black. Knight c6, knight a5. Apparently all of this is like normal. But after f4 and f5, this is not looking good. And it's kind of crazy in modern chess. You can just play like this. Just h3, g4, g5, h4, f4, f5. Because black's king is still in the middle. And now you're actually creating tangible threats. And after pawn takes f5, it's only going to get worse. He is down a pure exchange, is Yakoboyev. D takes e4. Knight d5 is not the best move, but it's very clean. He just has to not lose, remember. And this is misery. There is no check. Queen d8 is made if the rook is gone, so the rook is going to have difficulties even getting into the game. He does play knight c4, but Sindarov takes it and just, like, immediately offers a trade, and he's like, I'm not going to lose now. I mean, I cannot lose this position. And, yeah. I mean, Yakoboyev, he makes it a little interesting here with the pawns, but he doesn't have enough material. Like, he needed to go bishop g2 here, completely sacrificing this pawn with a check, which I don't know how on earth you're supposed to do. And he goes like this, but this is over. This is over because you're going to lose both of your pawns, and then you're going to lose some other pawns. And even though it looks like you're making some, you're not. You're just not. The rook hangs, this hangs. Sindarov wins the pawn, and this is just game over. There is nothing you can do here. Even if these pawns were gone, it would be a draw, because you cannot win a rook endgame with an A pawn. It's just not. The king and the rook will stop it immediately. And that is the end of the campaign. Well, not quite, I should say. I was going to say that's the end of the campaign for Sindarov, who makes it to the candidates. He can still become the champion of the World Cup, which would be an amazing achievement. But the way the World Cup is set up, it's kind of ridiculous. You won the grand prize already. Like, the final doesn't matter. Like, whether Sindarov plays Wei Yi or Esipenko, like, you win for a second. It doesn't, okay, you World Cup champ, congrats. Nobody cares. You made it to the candidates. Like, really, I mean, chess is weird. It's weird. Where second place is already, like, the ultimate crown. Massive congratulations to Sindarov. It is only fitting that this young man, who had an incredible year in freestyle and an incredible year in classical chess, gaining, I think, like 30 points or 40 points, that he establishes himself as one of the candidates. Crazy. I mean, I did not think that at the beginning of the year in February, when he was doing so well in freestyle, that he would be in the freaking candidates tournament. Like, that's crazy stuff. And he will play in the final, the winner of the match between Wei Yi and Andrei Esipenko. This one was different because these dudes aren't boys. Well, they're boys, men. I mean, they're not boys like the slang. Like, they're not chilling together. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they are. So Wei Yi plays e4, and in the first classical game, we have a French defense. So we're not going to get no boring 4 knights. We're not going to get no Queen's Gambit declined and a draw for on the 30th move. We're not going to see these guys leaving with the hand over the shoulder of their friend. That's how Sindarov and Yakoboyev left. Bro, if I played my friend in the World Cup semifinal, come on, man. Like, it's gonna be so wholesome. D4, D5, knight C3, and now we have knight D7. This is known as the Rubinstein French, named after. I mean, I really hope it's named after Akiba, but sometimes it happens in chess that, like, a name is used of an opening, but it's after somebody in the 17th century for some reason. The idea of this is to play knight f6. That is purely the idea, to then take with the knight. It's one of the most solid Frenches. It's fine. Knight f3, and white just plays, like, here. Black immediately strikes the center. White goes bishop e3. And there are a few ways to play this. You can just castle c3. The modern approach, which Wei Yi plays, is queen e2. And then you castle, you play h4, and you castle long. So maybe he didn't know this by memory because he spent a little bit of time. But, like, obviously, you teach beginners, like, short castle, connect your rooks. But nowadays, like, if you can castle long and play h4 in a position, chances are it's possible, and chances are it's probably pretty good. You are voluntarily giving up your bishop pair. If the guy takes it, it looks like you want to take with the queen, but I actually think you want to take with the pawn, because you're not going to, crush Andrei on the e-file, but you will potentially go to the pawn directly next to the king, not the pawn that is protected by that pawn. So this is super interesting stuff. Bishop d7 from Andrei. Clearly, there is a clock malfunction. He did not lose on time here. King b1, and now he takes, and we have f e3. But Andrei here, very, very nice. He understands that, here comes Wei Yi with all his different, he's going to go gallivanting on the horse, g5, e5. Yeah, Esipenko just plays f6. And as ugly and as ridiculous as this looks with the king in the middle, hey, folks, this is chess. This is chess. You sit at the board. Well, no, this is chess for most of you. Pawn takes pawn. Or, I haven't castled yet. Or, long queen move. For them and me and, stronger players, it's like, what does my opponent want? Oh, my opponent wants to go here and here. I better prevent that, provided that this move doesn't allow a tactical opportunity. That's chess. G4. Oh, what does my opponent want? He wants to go G5. Is that something that I need to stop right now? Probably not. I should castle my king. Wei Yi keeps advancing. Should I take this? Probably not, because that's where the knight wanted to go. I should make a general improving move, like getting my king out of the center line, Rook F1, same concept. Bishop C8, reactivating my rook, etc. So this is the way chess is played, and clearly Wei Yi goes for a very direct plan. Here's the problem. Wei Yi now has no targets. So he had a target there, it's gone. He has a target there, it's defended. This is actually like the most annoying pawn in the world. So Wei Yi does not have any forward momentum. Any way he makes progress now, he will be weakening his position in some capacity. So he goes backwards, because he wants to target the pawn but reposition the knight. Now the pawn goes forward. Esipenko seizes this opportunity to come forward and weaken the position, so you would think, oh, it's very easy, I just put my knight back on the f3 square. But it's not so simple, because actually, in the future, this pawn is going to be used to like a battering ram. Like we're going to use it to break apart the structure. Also, we have ideas like rook g4, pressuring this and this. So what ultimately happens is Esipenko senses the dynamics of the position changing and just gets a very, pleasant, slightly better position. Rook f4 is played, and now rook h3, rook d4 centralizing the rook, and rook g8, and Esipenko's playing fantastic, like truly fantastic. And perhaps this was the moment he needed to take more risk. He could have went for f4 and just clearly made a pass pawn, just put it on f3, pressured it there. But he decided, like, foot off the gas, pawn takes. And what happens now is, he gets this position where he's up a pawn, but in comes bishop a6, the defensive haymaker, sacrificing a bishop outside of Esipenko's pawn structure. Of course, if the bishop is taken, there is a direct line of attack against the king. What's crazy is that, like, yeah, it doesn't look like much, but you actually just lose. You lose because I sacrifice the rook, and out of nowhere, I have a triple attack going up against your king over there. He plays e5, rook d8. We have a capture, and now queen a4, again sacrificing the bishop. It's actually kind of a miracle that the white king is safe. You can't, you gotta be even careful giving this check. There are moments you can come back with the bishop and give a discovered attack to this king. But he takes it, and now rook d7, and my guy Wei Yi realized he can sacrifice all of his pieces, the bishop, and then later on the rook, and just be left in this position where it's a draw. Queen d6, and the king cannot escape. King b5, queen d5. If you run forward, that would be a very nice way to lose and get knocked out of the World Cup with mate in 2. But Wei Yi spots that the king is in a box. He's been left alone with the enemy queen, and she's not going to take it easy on him. Queen d7, queen d6, and it's simply a draw. 3 brilliant moves to force a draw. That's chess at the 2750 level, all right? At your level, if you made 3 brilliant moves, chances are you are going to win, all right? But at this level, no guarantees. Which takes us to the second classical game. Now Esipenko has the white pieces. Wei Yi plays the Petrov, of course. This is the specialty of Wei Yi, and I think a lot of other Chinese grandmasters actually play the Petrov. Knight f3, knight e4. This is the classical line. Bishop f4 is slightly different. Like normally they play, bishop e3, queen d2, long castle. He does this. I really don't know the differences between the two moves. I'm not even sure there is one, frankly. Sometimes the bishop is important for fighting on this diagonal. Sometimes the bishop likes to go to d4. Not important. All right, bishop e2. It's the World Cup. I mean, you gotta try a couple things. In this game, Wei Yi just trades and plays f6 and is like, yeah, just come beat me. Like, you have the bishop pair. Cool. b3, bishop b5, he just, like, comes back. He's just trying not to lose. I mean, it's just uber solid stuff. Esipenko makes a couple of pressurizing moves, but nothing too special. And ultimately, like, maybe here white can try to generate a same side attack, but you're not in a must-win situation, so it does play a4, but this rook shuffling business just doesn't really impress. Like, the rooks end up getting traded. Wei Yi making a couple of more solid moves. Esipenko's like, I can play for a win, but I mean, I don't know where it is. And I don't think there is a win, frankly. I mean, I think Wei Yi just did a really nice job neutralizing here. Neither player really wanted to get going. You get the sense in both classical games, which means we have to go to the tiebreaks. First tiebreak game in the drawing of lots, Esipenko with the white pieces. He goes back to hammering the Petrov. Knight e5, d6, knight f3, knight e4, knight c3, take, bishop, bop, 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 bop. Okay, so obviously, if we compare the two, it's going to get a little bit different, right? It's going to get a little bit different here. Long castle, queen d7, and the position is obviously looking a little bit different. Long castle, bishop b5, so already, you know, the signs of a slightly different structure. a6, bishop a4. Esipenko did his homework, obviously. He's going to try to, you know, put some pressure with the knight, d4, etc. And he does that. And Wei Yi, with a correct understanding of the position, is just like, hey, I can go b5. Like, that move looks outlandish. It looks crazy to play like this because you castled there. How can you just weaken your king like this? But, you know, the desire to push this bishop back and to potentially trap it with this c-pawn after you move this knight, that's a real problem for white. So white has to grab the bishop and go here. Still, visually, the position looks very good for white, but it's not. Like, somehow, this completely ridiculous defensive setup and the threat of this is not enough. Knight c4 is just in time to attack the queen, and even if you have a move like a bishop g4, I mean, I will take it, and then I will take your queen. Wei Yi is really, really, really classy defensively. Like, look at, I mean, you can even go queen a7 here, but you would lose the bishop. So there is no clear attack. He goes queen c4, he sacks. Why did he sack? Because he's going to win it back. Nice move by Wei Yi. You got to take my queen, but you got to do it on my terms. And from this position, if anybody's better, it's black. Why is black better? Because he has the dark squared bishop endgame brewing, and all his pawns are on light squares. And white's structure is back here. But objectively speaking, the position is equal. Although, after some shuffling in the 30th move territory, right here, rook e3 is apparently inaccurate. Like, Wei Yi could have maybe tried to play for e3 and more. He could have tried to put some pressure. And the computer, you know, here especially actually wanted to trade the bishops. Like, it does feel like black has much better chances in the endgame. I actually feel like, you know, if Magnus was playing black, he might go for bishop d6. And the idea is quite straightforward. Like, you have a clear path. I think Wei Yi just didn't really want to, like, play this endgame in a time trouble. But he ended up repeating the position. And so we go to another game. And Wei Yi would very quickly come to regret his decision, because in this game, Esipenko with black played a masterpiece. It was an Italian, d3 was played, this is all the main line, h6 prevents all sorts of bishop g5 business, knight d2, bishop b3, and we actually see Wei Yi spending some time after h6. Like, he plays b4, a4, and after a6, he begins spending some time. Knight d2, he spends a lot of time on bishop b3, he goes down another minute to 13, Esipenko's still in all his preparation. Yeah, Wei Yi down 3 minutes. I mean, that is 20% of the time that you were given at the beginning of the game. Right, so we have rook e1, rook a8 back. Esipenko starts catching up on time a little bit. Here, the time gap was over 3 minutes long. And finally, you know, Wei Yi again. Wei Yi very methodical. He doesn't play crazy moves. He just kind of plays good moves a lot. He can be very dynamic, but I think in his in his older age now as a player, a ripe old age of 26, he's just, you know, he's kind of more stable. And yeah, this game there was not much to do. I mean, Esipenko clearly did a good job. Like, look, I mean, he's playing king f8, king g8. Like, when you're playing king f8, king g8, it means there's nothing. And now Wei Yi is like, all right, I'm gonna try to get a little bit of stuff going on this side of the board. But Esipenko is ready. It looks like the momentum is shifting to Wei Yi putting some pressure, but he doesn't put it quite correctly. Even though he can win a pawn, rook a8 will come, and this is defended by that, so you don't have anything. We trade the knights, and in trying to keep putting more pressure, suddenly Wei Yi finds himself on the receiving end of a severe counterattack and less than a minute on the clock. And Esipenko is suddenly just a couple of accurate maneuvers away from being the World Cup finalist and a candidate. So he plays King E7, Knight D5 check, King to D6, giving up the pawn on F6 because you are in. You're going to win C6, you're going to win F3, you're going to win H2. That's exactly what happens. King D2 played, Knight F3, King C6. Andrei Esipenko has won all of the problematic pawns, and he's just a pawn up. Not just the pawn up, like, he is a few moves away from winning literally every pawn Wei Yi has. Wei Yi goes Rook H8. Rook A2, not the best move, but very understandable. Rook H2. Knight G4 back. Rook G2. I said, he's going to win all his pawns. This is crazy. Knight takes H6. This move is played with 3 seconds remaining on the clock. Wei Yi plays this move with 3 seconds, gets the 10 seconds bonus. Rook G3. Wei Yi plays this move, Knight F5. Rook G2. Andrei Esipenko is up 2 pawns. He is not completely winning because one of them he cannot move. The other one is ages away from moving, right? Time and time. This one can move, but if you start pushing it, it means the rook needs to defend it. It means the knight needs to stay protected. Like, it's quite clear it's not so simple. But white just has to avoid trading into a king and pawn endgame. That's it. And maybe a king and knight endgame. Rook H7. Wei Yi plays the move Rook H7 with 11. He played Rook H7 a second before he lost the entire match on time. Played Rook H7 with 1 second on the clock and pressed the clock. He's also playing with white. So it's not to his right, it's to his left. Because the clock is on black's side, on black's right side. So he makes the move here, and the clock is on that side. So he played the move and moved his hand to the opposite side of the board to press the clock. King B6 played. Wei Yi played Knight to E3. He played Knight to E3 and Rook to H7 with 1 second remaining on the clock. He plays Knight E3 in the mix. You have to not knock over any piece and press the clock. Andrei reached for his rook. His rook is hanging. Where is he going to move it? Rook D2. Rook A2. Rook G1. Then he pulled his hand back and he said, wait a minute. He's threatening Knight D5. I should stop that. He played C6. Wei Yi took his rook. And Andrei Esipenko resigned. Wei Yi is a World Cup finalist, and Wei Yi is a candidate. After being at 1 second for the last literal 2 moves, let it be known, Knight E3 was a great move because it attacked the rook and it threatened Knight to D5. Esipenko knew he had to move the rook. In fact, he probably wanted to go here, and play C6. I don't know. That would have hung a fork anyway. But he obviously saw that there were 2 threats. And in a moment of nerves, in a moment of madness, he stopped one of the threats and simply forgot, like... And that is devastating. Because now, he has to play Yakoboyev for the final candidate spot. If you get eliminated from the candidates with Knight takes G2, I mean, I don't even know. That is just... The World Cup is a crazy tournament, and Wei Yi now moves on to face Javakhir Sandarov to become the World Cup champion, and they are both in the candidates, which means there is basically effectively 1 candidate spot left, and it's for the bronze medal, because Prague is probably in, and Hikaru is probably in, which means your candidates at the moment are Wei Yi, Javakhir Sandarov, Hikaru with the rating spot, Fabiano Caruana, Anish Giri, Matthias Blubaum, Prague from the circuit, and the winner of the bronze medal match, either Yakoboyev or Andrei Esipenko. The World Cup continues to deliver. This is the wackiest candidates in a long time. I think if you take the seeding in the world, this is the lowest in a long time. Because what they used to do is they used to have knockout matches. And they don't do that anymore. And then historically, they always, I mean, the candidates were always like the top 15 in the world and maybe one wild card, just the way it always worked out. So this is going to be very interesting. We are living in unprecedented times. That's all I have for you today. We still have, I mean, a huge amount of the field is still in the top 15. But very interesting. A lot of wild cards there. That's all I have for you today. And the final and the bronze medal match will be decided over the next 3 days. Get out of here.